Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk a little bit about the federal bureaucracy. Nice little definition here of the federal bureaucracy: agencies, departments, offices, and bureaus of the executive branch. As I said the other day, it's kind of like all the people that work in the executive branch, and their job is to implement and enforce the laws. Very similar to what we looked at with the sandwich issue with that sandwich tax. Just think of it like that. That's what the bureaucracy does. Congress makes a law, the bureaucracy enforces it. Excuse me. See the numbers: 2.7 million people work in the bureaucracy, 21 million if you count state and local. Sure, some of your parents work in the bureaucracy. It's a big employer in our country. Can see a couple more numbers: 30% with the Defense Department. Obviously, that's the biggest number. Think about this area, with like Letterkenny, and the Navy Depot, New Cumberland. There's all kinds of different um, places where you can work for the Defense Department in this area. Another 15% work for Social Security, welfare, those types of situations. So, how did we get a civil service? How did we get our bureaucracy? It really started with what's called patronage, which is when politicians would hire people that did them political favors. So, you help me get elected, I'll give you a job. Obviously, that's not extremely ethical, but it's how we really started with this. That shifts a little bit as we go. We start saying, hey, we need to do this more on getting the best person for the job. We start, in 1881 we passed the Pendleton Act, and it was said, hey, we're going to hire people based on merit and not what their political party is. Today we have an entrance exam that everybody takes. If you do well on it, you're qualified to work for the government. The Hatch Act came along, and the Hatch Act said that people that were in the civil service can't participate in politics. Does that mean they can't vote? No, they get to vote, but they can't actively campaign. And along those same lines, politicians can't use the bureaucracy to help them win an election. So, just an example: the president couldn't use the Justice Department to investigate their opponent. The Office of Personnel Management is just the part of the bureaucracy now that's in charge of hiring those civil servants. So we have a branch that does this. So, four parts of our bureaucracy. The first is the cabinet. I have a picture of President Obama's cabinet here because, quite frankly, I couldn't find one of President Trump's. Um, Not really a big deal. You can see about the number of people that are on the cabinet. These are the president's closest policy advisors. The second part of the bureaucracy are government corporations. These are, basically what it sounds like. It's corporations or businesses that are run by the government. You see the three examples there. Most people think of the post office, but PBS, public broadcasting, is run by the government. Amtrak's run by the government. They're run in a for-profit situation. The government runs them to try and make a profit, even though none of them usually do make a profit, especially the post office. Um, that's why they're there. The third branch or the third part here is regulatory agencies. You can see what they do. They basically regulate. They police businesses, corporations, the government, and basically they make sure that companies are following the rules and the laws, if you will, of government. So they're like a watchdog. Couple different examples here: the EPA, Federal Communications Commission. They're the people that would um, watch a show or a movie. They do the ratings like R, PG, all that stuff. The FAA, which obviously is very, very important. Um, Food and Drug Administration, talking about food and prescription drugs, things like that. The Federal Trade Commission, not real exciting, but very important nonetheless, important for everybody. Same with Securities and Exchange, not exciting, but again, very important. And the last one that I want to talk about here is the independent agencies. So if it's not a cabinet department or a commission or a regulatory agency, then it's usually here. These just are kind of don't fit anywhere else, so they put them as independent agencies. Some of them could be cabinet agencies, but they're not. Basically, what we've said is we don't think they're important enough to be part of the cabinet, but so we'll make them an independent agency. All right, thank you very much.